oh, the Jerome Baker was my first bong I ever used. And so they have this story wrapped around it, where they bought it, what they named it, and who broke it in the end. And, and whether it was a policeman or whether it was mom taking it away or whether it was, dropped on the ground, or thrown in the dumpster or whatever the different stories are, good bongs do go to heaven. And so that's something that I tell people to take solace in.
It's so sweet. I went on your Instagram and I saw all of the different glass works you do, and it's amazing. It's all really beautiful.
Hi, it's Jasmine. That girl who did you-know-what way before the internet ever existed. Join me and my special guest every week as we talk about anything and everything, because nothing is too taboo. So punch your ticket and get on board the Krazy Train with me, Jasmine St. Clair. All aboard!
Oh my God, I finally figured out Zoom. Thanks for joining us today. This is awesome to have you on here. I've got to say, I've tried using a bong. I'm not much of a person that smokes too much of anything really. So I tried it with hash, and for some reason I always cough, and I don't know if it's a type of bong I use, if it's just some kind of cheap thing.
It's kind of like, picking out the right surfboard for whatever skill level you're at. You're going to want to have something that floats really well when you're at a beginner level, and you're going to want to have something that you can shred on if you're like an expert, right? So if you're given the wrong bong and wrong temperatures and wrong whatever, then yeah, you might have a bad experience, which kind of taints you forever, which, that's your path, but yeah, you can also use a bong as just a talking point at your house, similar to what you might use a painting or a sculpture that you put up. So with that, it's kind of like, we do a crossover. A lot of the pieces that we make are bongs, yes, but it's also a piece of art. It's also a spiritual object. For America, we kind of lack, in my opinion, some tradition and some, spirituality that could be well received here by our society. And I think the bong itself has this, kind of feel of some, sacramental object, and when you use it, it's kind of requires a ritual, especially for versed bong users. They have a little way that they do things and set it up and use it and then clean it out afterwards and put it away. They might even name their bong. You've heard of this before.
No, I have not.
There's a whole thing going on. And so, the bong itself also, as a male, when we grow up and we turn, whatever age we can get is our first real retail experience, going to the store and spending our own money. A lot of the times it's on a bong, and it's that experience at a head shop counter that you get with the guy behind the counter, the smells of the incense, the tactile of the whole experience that it's a lifetime takeaway. So, I've been making glass for 30 years, making glass bongs. And I get a lot of stories of people that come to me and say, oh, the Jerome Baker was my first bong I ever used. And so they have this story wrapped around it, where they bought it, what they named it, and who broke it in the end. And, and whether it was a policeman or whether it was mom taking it away or whether it was, dropped on the ground, or thrown in the dumpster or whatever the different stories are, good bongs do go to heaven. And so that's something that I tell people to take solace in.
It's so sweet. I went on your Instagram and I saw all of the different glass works you do, and it's amazing. It's all really beautiful. But is this what you really wanted to do growing up? Because I know when we want to be something, we talk about it like 9 or 10. It's like 10 or 11 different professions we think about. But what did you originally want to be when you grew up?
Sure, that's a question. I love that. That's well versed. So, like when growing up, I drew a lot, and my attraction was to the people in the art class or in the art program over there in that building. And I always, kind of was attracted to different art mediums, whether it's been printmaking or painting or something like that. So I always had wanted to do something in art. By the time I got to college, I went to the University of Oregon, and down the street from the college is an old man named Bob Snodgrass. Bob Snodgrass was the first guy that made these incredible glass pipes that we now use today. So basically everything we do now is based on what he taught us. And he's kind of the grand poobah, the grand wizard of this whole thing. And I was lucky enough to be there, right time, right place, in college, interested in art, and kind of get under his wing. And I was number 7 in a long lineage of apprentices from Bob Snodgrass. And he's a great resource. He's alive and well up in Eugene, Oregon. And he is the wizard of this industry of this glass pipe industry. And before him, there wasn't this big fad that we have today, or this big, I call it the Piper movement. There was a very a hot movie that came out on Netflix back in, I want to tell you, 2008 or something like this, and it's called Degenerate Art. And Degenerate Art is an incredible documentary about this glass pipe scene, and kind of lays out how it came about. And it's a really kind of, great set of circumstances that made it happen. And I'm a glass pipe maker in Las Vegas. We have a small crew in there, manufacturing really, high end, really cool glass bongs and pipes. And I have a permit from the city of Las Vegas to manufacture those. And, back my history is I started making glass in 1991, like I said. And by 2003, we were doing $4 million a year in volume of sales, 70 employees in Eugene, Oregon. And on one day, it was February 23rd, 2003, they broke my doors down and arrested me for manufacturing drug paraphernalia, along with Tommy Chong and 55 others. And so that kind of took the wind out of my sails in terms of making bongs in Eugene, Oregon. And so with that, I kind of reconfigured, recalibrated. I still make glass in an art capacity out here in Maui, Hawaii, turtles, whales, dolphins, all that fun stuff. And lo and behold, cannabis has become legal again on a state-by-state level, and starting with Colorado on a real consumer level, where Colorado was the first to say, it's open for consumption to 21 and over. And so that was a big key mark for us to reignite the brand and make sure we kind of came back out on the level that we deserve, being around so long. And so now we're, like I said, we're blowing in the arts district of Las Vegas. We have an incredible team of really talented glass blowers. And, we just did a TV show that's going to drop here soon this summer. It's on Altered TV, ALTRD. And what happens there is we brought 12 of the best pipe makers we could find, and we put them against each other on 3-on-3-on-3. And at the end of all the different heats, the winner went home with $10,000 cash, and they made the best pipe out there. And it was a really fun show to do. And we're really blessed and honored to get it out here to the general public and show you guys kind of not only the technique and how we make this stuff and the materials behind it, but also the characters that are glass pipe makers. They come from all walks of life for all different reasons. And we put some really good character background into this story. And it's a 6-episode TV show. So we're going to be releasing them every Sunday this summer. I don't have the exact dates yet. Everything's working towards it. And we're excited to see how it all goes and how it's received.
It should be like on Netflix or something, or like Amazon Prime. It sounds very interesting. Now, the only time I've ever seen glass blowing in full effect was in Harmony, California. It's got like a population of maybe 5. Do you know the place I'm talking about? It's really cool. It's like the perfect place to live. It's right near the beach, and there's like 5 people in town. There's a creamery and a glass blowing place.
Wow, I do not know, but
and a chapel. So that's got to be like the ultimate life living in Maui, Hawaii. And a lot of people don't know about this Operations Pipe Dreams. I think that's what it was called in 2003. How did you avoid going to jail? I mean, I think they busted like 55 people or something in that.
Yeah. So when they arrested us, everybody sat in there for like a week, and that was the initial run there. And then it was let out, and all the bank accounts were seized, and businesses were seized, and, it was all done. It was treated like, straight, Coke dealer type treatment. And so, lo and behold, we all went back to the same judge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And Tommy was the one that was kind of like talking, about the judge out on the stairs of the courthouse. And after that, I think that she wanted to just give him the time to kind of prove the point to everyone. Everyone else got electronic home monitoring. I mean, it was a 2-year investigation on us. And it was, a real, shot, because once you're doing those kind of volumes, and we pay taxes on everybody, we're a growing business, to kind of come in and strike like that. It just takes a lot out of 70 employees. It's a lot out of Eugene. But there's a lesson learned. Sorry about that. There's a lesson learned.
Was that Janet Ashcroft that was the DA at the time?
It was John Ashcroft, and
there you go. It was, yeah,
one that put the blanket over the scales of justice at the Justice Department, because he didn't want her boobs exposed in the Justice Department in that statue. And just really interesting beings. I believe that they used the justice system to make a political statement. I think that now, these laws haven't been changed, and it's people like you doing shows like this that get the voice going, and you get people ignited. But we need to kind of unite as a not only a industry, but a lifestyle, a culture. And so if we can get some unification going, and we can get elected officials in, it doesn't matter if they've smoked weed or have whatever dark past. If they're going to get in and they're going to help, the open mindset come on here and unite people. I think cannabis is the one uniting factor we all have now. Black, white, gay, straight, it really doesn't matter. Everybody smokes. Even, I believe that, once Israel puts more legalization out, if you can get Russia legalized marijuana, would things be different? I believe so. And I think it's important, as all of us as little voices, to have the whole, chorus in harmony. And we can kind of, make something real happen here still in our lifetimes. We never realized, or we never even thought in college, that we're going to have legal weed. You can go to the store. It looks like an iPhone store. You buy weed. So now it's so changed and different that it gives us, real hope and resolution in where we are in the space, and as icons in the culture.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, with weed, it's a 50-50 thing for me. Like, I think it's great. I think people should just legalize it, just like prostitution should be legalized, amongst other things. But there is this one snag. I ride a motorcycle. The last thing, sometimes I have my helmet on, sometimes, I don't. It just depends where I'm going. And you have people driving by in cars. This is in California, and they're smoking it, and they just blow it out the window, and it goes like right in my face. And it's not necessarily great weed. You know what I mean? And I think do you think there should be some some kind of like a medium where it's so much you could smoke while driving, or you shouldn't smoke at all while you're driving?
So to answer that question intelligently, my vote right now is that we hire an independent, consortium to do a major test right now, a real, neutral test on how THC affects driving. And we can publish the results and really kind of dig in here and see where and what and why and how to negate all this stuff. I think that there's probably ways. And I think, you can't be too stoned or too intoxicated on anything driving around. I ride a motorcycle as well. And that's all I do, is I look out for other people. That's all I'm doing when I'm driving around, in Vegas, especially when I get out on the desert, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I love going to Death Valley. That's like my favorite trip, just going up there, because there's nothing there. There's like Jawbone Bend. And there's a sketchy like area with a gas station and a sandwich shop. That's like a whole other story. Yeah, but I agree with you on that. And maybe you should be the one to have this whole bill passed, or just somehow have that, looked at more, because it's kind of, it's sort of a serious thing. I mean, back when I was around your age and you said you were like selling weed, or you were designing these bongs, I was actually dealing weed. Not a lot of people know this, but I worked at a record store in Manhattan, and my boss had this really special weed, like Walla Walla, Washington, Georgia Peach, and the stuff smelled like so amazing. So of course, weed like that deserves a bong like yours, obviously. And if you didn't have the chance to come back and do all of this, like, let's say things went really sour after 2003, what do you think you'd be doing? I hope you're enjoying the ride on Krazy Train with Jasmine St. Clair podcast. So if you are, do me a huge, huge favor. Woo! Please go ahead. Go on to Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever, but Apple's great. Give me a nice rating and review. Send me a screenshot, and I promise you I will send you a special goodie bag. So please rate and review Krazy Train with Jasmine St. Clair podcast. And in exchange for that, once I see the DM with the review and your name and address, I will get those gift bags out to you. I'm not going to tell you what's in it.